Stay frosty and head over to EasyMut.com for the cheapest MUT coins on the market. And when I say cheapest, I mean it. We're talking 1 million coins for around 40 bucks. Use code DIRECTOR for 5% off. Kia ora, brothers. What's up? It's the Director. Good morning, Chargers fans. Or I should say good afternoon by the time you guys are probably seeing this. I don't care the circumstances. I don't care who the opponent was. It is still Victory Monday, and oh boy, does it taste so sweet. Now, I get it. Some people are going to say, but it was just the Jets. Calm down. Sure, yeah, you guys are right, but it doesn't discredit what was accomplished on the field on Sunday. More specifically, what Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen were able to do on Sunday. It's astonishing. A clear display of what this team is capable of when used the right way. Now, this doesn't mean this game was perfect. There were certainly some mistakes made, but I still can't help but sit back and marvel at our future Rookie of the Year quarterback Justin Herbert, who some will say should be in contention for not only Offensive Rookie of the Year, but maybe even MVP as well. The guy's playing at just such an astonishing level. I don't think anyone can discredit that claim. Now, I do believe that an MVP title is in Herbert's future for sure, but what I'm more certain on, at least for right now, is that he is the clear front runner for Offensive Rookie of the Year at this moment in time. Now, that being said, I do want to share my condolences to Bengals fans who might be watching this video. Man, what a tough break. Burrow and Herbert were neck and neck, but after suffering a season-ending ACL and MCL injury on Sunday, I think Herbert has now a sizable lead. But man, I do feel for you guys. It's almost like one of those I wanted to win, but not like this situations. I still do believe Herbert had a slight lead over Burrow even before the injury, but I was looking forward to seeing these guys kind of duke it out. And even with the award aside, I think Burrow just made the NFL more enjoyable to watch. So now, on the other hand, the other quarterback who had a shot at the award was Tua Tagovailoa. I'm almost nervous to mention him in this video with how aggressive Dolphins fans have been in the comments since week 10, but it has to be said. Tua was benched in favor of Ryan Fitzpatrick on Sunday. Yikes. At first, I thought it was because he was injured, but later it was stated that the team felt that Fitz gave them the better chance at winning. So with that development, I think it's very safe to say that Herbert is the clear front runner. So keep an eye on that. But man, what a game on Sunday. And we cannot credit Herbert without crediting Keenan Allen as well. He was absolutely incredible. And this is really showing us what this duo is going to be doing for years to come in the NFL. We're going to be going over all of this in this video, but also keep in mind we will be dissecting some of the mistakes made in this game, as well as some will agree that, this win was a tad bit ugly, especially in the second half. So still, a win's a win, and we have a lot to discuss. Before we do get into this video, guys, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, and bell notification helps me out a lot. Let's get into this video. Lights, camera, action. Now, before we jump head first into this, I also did want to mention how awesome our live stream was on Sunday. If you guys missed it, I decided to go live and give my reactions to the game on stream. We had around 600 Chargers fans in the chat cheering, hollering for the Bolts, and I gotta say, it was a lot of fun. So thank you guys so much for making that an awesome experience for me. Let me know in the comments if this is something you guys would like to see again in the future. Now, back to the topic at hand. The Chargers are now 3-7 headed into week 12 after their victory over the Jets on Sunday. Now, I must state the obvious before proceeding. Yes, the Jets are a winless team. I think there is a fair chance that they might be tanking for Trevor Lawrence, because that guy could legitimately transform this team as soon as 2021. So yes, we spanked a winless team, but there's still a lot that was accomplished in this game, even over an easy opponent. The first is obvious. Let's take a look at the box score. Justin Herbert is continuing to have a sensational rookie year with the Chargers, adding 366 yards and 3 more touchdowns to his resume. This game puts him at a new incredible total for the season. Let's take a look at the passing leaders here right now. Herbert is now just under 2,700 yards. We'll put him right here. 22 touchdowns and 6 interceptions passing, adding another 187 yards and 3 touchdowns rushing in his rookie year. He is nothing short of unbelievable. This slates him at quarterback number 8 on the year in passing yards. And again, there's a big difference between him and everyone else in the top 10. He has played one less game. See all the 10s next to every other quarterback's name? Yeah, he's got an entire less contest under his belt than everybody else. It's absolutely crazy. So if Herbert had been allowed to start week 1 and put up his season average of around 300 yards, he would be just here right underneath Patrick Mahomes, just above Russell Wilson. He'd have around 3,000 yards on the year. We are witnessing the birth of a new superstar in the NFL, and he's doing it better than anyone else that has come before him. Herbert shattered more records on Sunday, being the only rookie quarterback to ever have 3+ passing touchdowns in a 5-game span in league history. And yes, it was a soft opponent. I fully expected this to happen, and honestly, if the Chargers didn't let up in the second half, we could have seen Herbert's first 400-yard passing game, of which he was just 34 yards short of. But still, even with it coming against the Jets, Herbert carved them up better than almost every other quarterback New York has faced this year. I think Mahomes was the only one to beat him worse. And remember, always remember this, he is a damn rookie. It's unbelievable. Right now, Herbert is on pace for around 4,500 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, all in 15 games played this year. And looking at his remaining schedule, he has a very good chance at accomplishing this. But we can't talk Herbert without giving a huge nod to Keenan Allen as well in this game. Wow! Keenan Allen hauled in 16 out of his 19 targets for 145 yards and a touchdown this week. 16 receptions. Not only was this a career high for Keenan Allen, but he also just tied Antonio Brown to become the fastest player to reach 600 career receptions. He was absolutely destroying the Jets all game. Remember a few weeks ago when I said that it was unacceptable for Keenan to have only 3 receptions? This is why. When you throw double-digit targets Keenan's way, good things always happen. And this just gets me excited. So excited for what this duo is going to do, the things that they're going to do for years to come. Keenan has become one of the league's best weapons when it comes to third down conversions. It used to be that on 3rd and medium or 3rd and long, I would be sweating bullets because the Chargers used to be just so bad at converting on those downs. But lately, I kind of remain a little bit optimistic in those situations that they will convert, and that's because Herbert and Allen are just so good at it. These guys really are surgical when it comes to moving the chains. I remember people were very worried about Keenan and Herbert's effectiveness together before the season even started, stating that Keenan just wasn't the right kind of fit for a guy like Justin Herbert. And my argument was and always will be, Allen is the kind of receiver that would dominate in any system with any quarterback. Much like we saw with DeAndre Hopkins and the slew of quarterbacks that he played with back in Houston, he still dominated. And just like Hopkins, Allen actually got an upgrade at the quarterback position this year. And that's not a slam on Rivers, but more of a praise of Herbert. These guys are very dangerous together. Now, outside of that, we did see some excellent plays by other members of the offense. Mike Williams had 72 and a touchdown. Tyron Johnson hauled in another signature Herbert bomb for 54 yards. Henry racked up 48 and a score. And Ballage even looked good in Eckler's absence once again. P.S. Just in case you didn't know, many believe that Eckler and Chris Harris Jr. could be making a return next week versus the Bills. This offense was moving, and this to me is a great example of what happens when you change your mentality of a team, fully utilizing the talent that you have on the roster. I cringed at the thought of what would happen if the Chargers sacrificed everything to establish the run. We definitely saw that last week versus the Dolphins, but no, instead we took a step back and realized our best chance of moving the ball versus the Jets is to let Herbert cook. And for most of the game, that's exactly what we did. It's got to be hard for a guy like Anthony Lynn, who is certainly a run the ball mentality kind of coach, to shift his style of play, but he did. Again, for most of the game. There were still moments in the fourth quarter where I was worried we retreat back to old habits of game script, but the Chargers held on and secured the win in the end. But that's really a great way to segue into my final topic. We held on to the win, and some believe that this game was a little bit too close for comfort, myself included. There were moments that the Chargers were looking like their old selves. From a blocked punt in the first, the insane amount of flags in the second half, we have a lot to clean up after this game. But some of my biggest concerns outside of our special teams right now has to come from our secondary. Yikes. Remember last week when I predicted that Casey Hayward would be beat on a deep touchdown pass? Well, it happened. Flacco let one rip and Perriman came down with the ball for the score. I predicted this because Hayward is starting to show serious signs of decline. He's had a lot of trouble in deep coverage, and those struggles continued on Sunday. Much like he was cooked against Aguilar and Renfro versus the Raiders, we saw the same thing versus the Jets. Now, I will give the Jets some credit. They have some pretty talented wide receivers, better than most people give them credit for. But still, this is the kind of thing that's happening so consistently against Hayward that it would be foolish for us not to worry about his decline right now. So at this point, if Sewell is unavailable at our pick in April, we really need to consider taking a cornerback with this pick. The secondary is just really falling apart without Derwin James, and we need to start making moves now to fix it, because Hayward as well as Chris Harris Jr. are both on the older side and could be gone in the next couple of years. Joey Bosa also made a few errors in his first week back from concussion protocol, a questionable roughing the passer call, as well as a couple of other mistakes. But ultimately, I wanted to point him out because I wanted to credit his presence in this game. He was all over Joe Flacco, I think totaling around 5 pressures, and he was definitely playing angry. He Hulk smashed a garbage bin on the sideline at one point. But I like this. Come back with that energy, Joey Bosa. Even though he didn't get a sack this game, which he should have outside of that bogus call, he was moving with purpose this week. I fully believe that he is going to elevate every aspect of this defense so long as he continues to play. Remember, the Jets' last game before their bye week, Flacco actually had a pretty great game versus the Patriots defense. Flacco actually had a much worse game this week. You guys can actually take a look at the stats right here. And I do give Joey Bosa a lot of credit in that department. As a matter of fact, if you look at that play where Flacco threw the pick six into the hands of Campbell, you can clearly see Bosa throwing his blocker aside and forcing Flacco to react. This is what happens when you have a dominant pass rusher on the field. Mistakes start to happen because the quarterback feels pressure to make something happen quick. But still, this game was a little closer than it should have been. The Jets definitely made a push in the fourth quarter, and honestly, they were doing a good job. But I think we were doing a worse job at trying to stop them. The Chargers had an opportunity to really lock this game up with a 4th and goal situation on the 1, and they elected to kick the field goal instead. Now, most of the time, I'd say, yeah, it's safer to take the points here. But in this instance, I felt it was more important to ride the momentum of your offense and trust them with that situation. But I do think in the end that a slew of penalties really did keep the Jets in this game. We had somewhere around 9 penalties and gave up a ton of yards, even if one of those penalties was kind of silly in my opinion, the roughing the passer penalty on Joey Bosa. That should have been a sack. But still, our defense wasn't doing us any favors with all those penalties, and the coaches once again took their foot off the gas offensively as well. But even with all that, we got away with the win, and in the end, that's all that matters for that week. Going forward, I really think this game can serve as a valuable learning opportunity for the Chargers. The coaches saw firsthand that this isn't a run offense anymore. Even if Eckler comes back next week, we should still 100% be leaning on the pass, and Eckler could even help elevate that significantly. Keep running the ball when it makes sense, but don't force it in order to establish the run. Do what works, and what works is your elite quarterback slinging it to your elite receivers. Next week, the Chargers will be facing against the Buffalo Bills, and they're definitely going to need to lower their pride and commit to this mentality, because running on the Bills is definitely not easy. Eckler should help us become more efficient in that aspect a little bit, but remember, he's not a power back either. If we're going to have a shot at winning this game, we must learn from all the games that we've played this season. The wins and the losses. We are just not a run-heavy offense anymore. We are a Justin Herbert offense. Do what works. Now, my final statement is going to be coming from one of my commenters on Sunday. He mentioned that the Chargers kind of remind him of the 2018 Chiefs. Their defense was absolutely atrocious, but the reason they were able to become so dominant is because they adjusted. They realized what they had in Patrick Mahomes and said, you know what, at this point we're almost guaranteed to give up a lot of points. It's time to start stacking the score. And that to me is what made that year for the Chiefs so special. If your defense can't handle business themselves, put up enough points so we don't have to fully rely on them that way. The Chargers are very capable of doing this. We've put up 30 plus points in most of our games this year. I feel like if we commit to keeping our foot on the gas, especially offensively, there's no reason we couldn't win out the rest of the year. It's time to stop relying on this defense. Use what works. Justin Herbert. Well, guys, that's all I've got for this video. If you guys have any other thoughts from this last week's game, post your thoughts in the comments section below. Let me know what you guys think we should do in order to adjust for the Bills game coming up next Sunday. I will be putting out my prediction video on Fridays as I normally do. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you like this content, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We will see you next time, and as always, bolt up and stay frosty.